Well, joining me now in studio is the Executive Director of Oklahoma's Wheat Commission, Mike Schulte. Well, Mike, give us just some idea how important Oklahoma's wheat crop is to Oklahoma's overall economy.
The Oklahoma wheat crop is the largest plant commodity crop for the state. We generally plant anywhere from 5.5 to 5.6 million acres in the state, and generally harvest around 3.5 to 4 million acres when harvest does come. This year, though, those numbers do look pretty dismal, and we're hoping that we harvest somewhere around 3.3 million acres.
Now, as you said, this is projected to be the smallest crop that we could have in over 50 years. What type of impact could that have on the rural parts of our state?
Looking at just numbers, worst crop was 1957 at 43 million bushels. Right now, USDA has us estimated at 62.7 million bushels. If you look at 2012 and the economic impact of what our industry made for the state, over the 5-year average back then, it was somewhere around $784 million. This year, we're looking at an economic impact of $378 million. So it is going to have an impact to the overall state economy of somewhere around $400 million. Something that we realize is not going to be good for Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I know you've seen this, I've seen this. Wheat is a tough old crop, and you can never completely count it out, even in the worst conditions. So there will be people making a crop this year.
There are some bright spots in the state. They are few and far in between. We just really couldn't get over the hurdles of the significant drought that we've had this past year. You look around, I'd say south of Lawton, there's an area down by Walters and Temple where they did get some moisture in the last month and has allowed for grain fill. And I think down there's potential maybe for some 30 bushel wheat. And along the 81 highway corridor in the state, as you get on up into El Reno areas and Okarche and Enid. But then again, it's just the last 5 days we've had real extreme high temperatures, and I think has done nothing really good for the state. And I think we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we've got 5 days of rain here in the upcoming forecast. And I'm afraid at this point in time where the wheat is ripe in the southern part of the state that could affect us on test weight.
Certainly. Now, if you listen to climatologists, some of them warn that the drought that we've seen could be just the first of more to come. From an industry perspective, how do you prepare for a hotter, drier Oklahoma?
Well, we continue to work on that with our research development at Oklahoma State University. If you look at the mesonet in the Panhandle region still today, there has been over 102 days with some areas that have received less than 1/4 of an inch of rain. And I'd say that this wheat crop in most areas from planting date till now has made it on around anywhere from 2 to 3 inches if they did get a lot of rain in those areas. And you look at that and think that crop can survive on that. It is a tough plant, but we continue to work on the drought tolerant traits and the nitrogen efficiency genes with the wheats that we are releasing through Oklahoma State University, and we're hopeful that we are able to get those to producers to make them more competitive. But it all still comes down to having moisture at the end of the day, and that's the one thing that we're most hopeful for.
So will consumers see any effect to this smaller crop?
That's a good question, Rob. Sometimes it does have a trickle-down effect. World supplies are really strong right now, so although we're seeing negative impacts with the crop here in the United States and having low supplies here in the U.S., worldwide we are going to have a large abundance, and that's what's predicted for the 2014-2015 year. Now, if that potentially changes and we see a drought in another region when that crop is coming in, then that could have a potential effect for the consumer.
Okay. Well, Mike, we certainly wish you the best here and hope this year's harvest is better than projected. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rob.